Hey folks, Valerie here with another stitch tutorial. This one is for leg 5 of the Pennsylvania road trip knit along, and I have already gotten a jump on this. I have a couple rows here in leg 5. I'm just using the same swatch that I did for the last leg, so it just flows just like it will on your shawl. So I've already done rows 1 and 2, which is stockinette stitch in color D, and now I am halfway across my row using color B, and this has some funny knit front back fronts, but with extra wraps. We've done the knit front back front before. If you did my leg 1, some of the increases were knit front back front, but this has extra wraps. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to start by inserting my needle into the front of the stitch just like a normal knit, and I'm wrapping the yarn twice and pulling it through, but I'm not taking the yarn off the left hand needle. Now I'm going to work my way into the back of the stitch, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wrap twice and pull that through. And I'm kind of leaving these wraps a little bit loose. The whole point of doing the extra wrap is to give us extra height on these stitches, which are going to be twisted together over a stockinette background. So now I'm going back into the front of the stitch, and I'm going to again wrap twice and pull that through. And now that I've done the front, the back, and the front, I'm going to take that stitch off my needle. So I went from 1 stitch on the needle to now it looks like 6 stitches. It's really only 3 because of the extra wraps, but in the stitch count, I count each one of those loops because I figure that's how you're going to count it if you're counting stitches. So let me knit the next 14 stitches and get across to where we're going to do the next one of those so I can show you again. I had fun playing with this concept when I was developing this section. 10. And so I hope you enjoy it as you're working with it. All right, so I've done my 14 stitches, and now I'm going to do the knit front, back, front with extra wraps. So in from the front, wrap twice. Into the back, wrap twice, pull that through, and now back into the front and wrap twice. Okay, so there we have, it looks like a little cluster there. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and work to the end. So on our return row, we are going to be slipping those extra stitches in there, and we're going to be dropping the wraps. So let's go ahead and turn our work. Okay, so I'm going to purl across to that first cluster. When I get there, this is really super easy. I'm going to slip these stitches off. Now in the directions, I talk about whenever you're slipping stitches in this section, other than the edge, you already know how to do the edge. But for the central pattern here, whenever you slip stitches, you're going to make sure your working yarn is towards the wrong side of the work. So this is the wrong side of my work. So I'm going to keep my yarn in front. So I'm going to lift off these stitches, and I'm dropping the extra wrap. So there was 1, 2, 3. So I've slipped those. I'm not going to do anything else with them. And now I'm just going to continue purling across to the next section. So I'm going to work my way across this row, and I will be back with you. Okay, I am ready to start row 5. Now here is where the misses and plus size differ just a wee bit. If you are doing the misses size, we're going to stop using color B, and we're going to go back to using color D. Okay, if you are doing the plus size, you are actually going to change to color A here. And this is just because of yardage issues and making sure we don't want you to run out of yarn. And also, it either way gives a beautiful look. So my swatch is based on the misses size. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with color D, which it would help if I picked it up. All right. And then here, if, like I said, if you're doing the plus size, you'll be switching to color A. You can take a look at the photos in the pattern, like if you want to look at color A versus like what it looks like by doing the different colors. We have photos in the patterns. The reason we didn't do them the same is that the folks who are doing the plus size have an extra skein of color A, so you have more room there with your yardage. But the folks who are doing the Mrs. size do not have that extra skein, and we're preserving as much color A for the border as possible. So if you are doing the Mrs. size and you like the look of using 3 colors with color A in the middle, better, you can do that. Just be aware that may mean your border will need to be a little bit shorter. Okay, so I have done my edge stitches and made one and knit across, and now I've gotten to those slipped stitches. I'm working here on the front side of my work. I've got the right side facing me. I'm going to slip these 3 stitches with the yarn in back towards the wrong side of the work, and then keep knitting across. And that's basically what I'm going to do for the next couple of rows. I'm working in stockinette, and every time I get to those 3 slipped stitches, I am just going to slip them from the left needle to the right needle without working them, always making sure I'm keeping my working yarn towards the wrong side of the work. So I'm going to work the next 4 rows, and I will rejoin you when I have gotten up to row 9, which is where we get to do fun stuff with those lovely little slipped stitches. Okay, I'm back, and I've actually started working my way across row 9. I switched to my color B, and I've done my first couple of little twists here, and I am just about ready to do another one. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing those. So I'm going to knit across to where those lovely slipped stitches are. You can use a cable needle, you can use a double pointed needle, you could use a toothpick if you wanted. Well, I am going to slip this guy in here, and I am going to rotate clockwise, 1 full turn, and then another full turn, and then a half turn. And that twists those stitches. And now I'm going to just knit them from the cable needle or whatever you're using. So I did the twist. Here I'm going to knit 5. And I'm going to slip, slip, knit. And knit 2 together. And this just kind of handles the fact of those extra stitches that we added. Also gives a wee bit of shaping. And now I'm going to do 5 more stitches, and that takes me right up to my next twist. Okay, so again, you're going to use your cable needle or your double pointed needle or whatever you have on hand, and we'll go 1 time, 2 times, and a half a time. And now we're going to knit those stitches. Right off the needle, and work our way towards the end. From here on out, it's just basic stockinette. I'm going to work my way back with color B and purl on the wrong side to get stockinette, and then I'm going to switch back to color D and do 2 rows of that to frame this out quite nicely. And I'll be back to show you when it's done. Okay, I have made it to the end of row 12, and here's what we're looking at. We've got the twists that kind of span out there at the bottom into that stockinette. Tiny bit of shaping here where we did our decreases, and that nice purple color D to finish it all off. And that's it for leg 5.